monitor the students. We need everybody on a level 0. When we are ready.
Welcome to our 2025 Black History Month program. We are excited to honor those who came before us, to pave way, celebrate the accomplishments of historical and perhaps little-known Black figures, and empower you to make a difference in your community and the world around you. Throughout history, many individuals have encountered hardships, struggles, and disappointments that cause some to give up. Rather than settling for unfulfilled life, these individuals decided to take risk and stand up for change. Standing up for change can be difficult. You may feel like others will not agree with you. You may feel lonely in your journey, but just like people such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman, you too can make a change. You too can feel empowered to make the world around you, the community around you, and even your school a better place for all people. Honor, celebrate, and empower. They did it, and you can too.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tunes is heard on a distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and a trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms swaying on the dawn bright lawn. And he names the sky his own, but a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for thrill, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for caged birds sing of freedom.
Thurgood Marshall have been inspired to become a lawyer after pulling a prank in high school. As punishment, his principal made Marshall read the U.S. Constitution, which outlines the rights all Americans should have. But Marshall was born on July 2, 1908 in Maryland, a time when black people were discriminated against in southern states. He knew that black people didn't have the same rights as other white Americans and realized the best way to fight for justice was through the law. After graduating from law school, Marshall started working on civil rights cases to fight for equality for African Americans. But probably his best-known case was Brown versus Board of Education, which challenged school segregation, when white and black students are forced to go to separate schools. Marshall argued in front of the Supreme Court, the highest court in the United States, that separate was not equal, as people who supported segregation believed the justices agreed with Marshall. And in 1954, school segregation was abolished. Desegregation happened slowly, but Marshall kept fighting. Then in 1967, President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed him as the first African American justice to serve on the Supreme Court. He continued to fight for civil rights using the law to protect the all people. He died on January 24, 1993, and leaves a legacy behind to keep pushing until you see a positive change. We salute you. Thurgood Marshall.
Harriet Tubman, conductor of the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman cautiously watched the shore from one of the 3 gunboats on the Combahee River. She and several hundred Union soldiers were preparing a raid to free hundreds of enslaved people from plantations in South Carolina, part of the Confederate state that were fighting against the Union during the Civil War of 1861 to 1865. Enemy soldiers were hiding nearby. Success was far from granted. Harriet Tubman is well known for risking her life as a conductor in the Underground Railroad, which led escaped enslaved people to freedom in the North. But the former enslaved woman also served as a spy for the Union during the Civil War. Tubman decided to help the Union Army because she wanted freedom for all of the people who were forced into slavery, not just the few she could help on the Underground Railroad. And she convinced many other brave African Americans to join her as spies, even at the risk of death if they were caught. In one of her most dramatic and dangerous roles, Tubman helped Colonel James Montgomery plan a raid to free enslaved people from plantations along the Combahee River in South Carolina. Tubman was brave, persistent, and determined to fight for equality for all people. We salute Harriet Tubman.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like an Israelite. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water.
The skies had never seen a pilot like Bessie Coleman before. She was the first African American woman to obtain an international pilot's license, soaring to new heights that black people in the United States had never reached before. But as a black woman in the 1920s, she faced many obstacles because of her race and gender. She would say that the air is the only place free from prejudice. Coleman was born in Texas in 1892, the 10th of 13 children. Her parents were both sharecroppers who picked cotton for a landowner. When she was young, her family moved to Waxahachie, Texas, where she attended segregated schools, meaning black children went to separate schools, which usually weren't as good as schools for white children. She eventually moved to Chicago, Illinois in 1915 and worked in a barbershop painting fingernails. When her brother John returned from fighting in France during World War I, he told stories of the freedom that women overseas enjoyed. They could be pilots, he said. That sparked Bessie's new dream, to work in aviation. She saved up money and applied to U.S. flight schools, but every school rejected her because she was black and a woman. Finally, someone suggested she try schools in France. She learned French, left the USA, and enrolled in the Cauldron Brothers School of Aviation in Le Crotoy, France. She earned her international pilot's license on June 15, 1921, within a year of enrolling. Afterward, she studied stunt flying across Europe. When she returned to the United States in 1922, she was an aerial acrobat. Coleman amazed black and white audiences with her daredevil feats, known as Queen Bess and Brave Bessie. She would do loops, barrel rolls, and figure eights in her plane. She'd even walk on the wings and parachute out. She also used her fame to fight racism and segregation, refusing to fly in shows that forced black and white spectators to enter through separate gates. In 1923, Coleman survived a bad accident that left her with a broken leg and ribs, but soon she recovered and started doing stunts at air shows again. Her goal was to open a school for black pilots, but she never completed that dream. On April 30th, 1926, she died in a plane accident, but her courageous feats of flight have inspired a fleet of black women pilots who came after her and journeyed to the sky. We salute you, Bessie Coleman.
Ida B. Wells was born into slavery in Mississippi on July 16, 1862, less than a year before Emancipation Proclamation of 1863. Freed enslaved people after moving to Tennessee, she was about 20 years old. Wells began writing for black newspaper, speaking out against segregated schools which forced black children to go to separate schools and other forms of discrimination in southern states. But after a friend was killed by a mob of disagreeing people, Wells knew more had to be done. For several months, she traveled throughout the South interviewing people and investigating records about similar attacks. Then she wrote and published an article in Tennessee's newspaper that she co-owned. The articles told the truth about what was happening to black people, but the stories eventually made people angry. Some stormed her office and destroyed her press. Eventually, Wells had to leave the South forever. That dangerous experience did not stop Wells from writing. After moving to New York City and then Chicago, she continued to report about discrimination against black people. And her articles were read by people across the country using reporting methods that are still used today. She exposed conditions that African Americans were forced to live under. She died on March 25, 1931, but still inspires people to fight for a change. We salute you, journalist Ida B. Wells.
Mother to son. Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up. and places with no carpet on the floor bare. But all this time, I've been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it's kinder hard. Don't you fall now, for I'll still going, honey. I'll still climbing for life, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Do you want me to bring it down?
I love myself, I love my skin, I love my hair, my melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit, just try again. I love myself, I love my skin, I love my hair, my melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit, just try again. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? I can be anything I wanna be. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? I can be anything I wanna be. I am strong, I am strong, I am smart, I am smart, I am nice, I am nice. Use my heart, I use my heart. I believe in myself, I don't play, I don't play. So I say this in the mirror every day. What I say, I am strong, I am strong, I am smart, I am smart, I am nice, I am nice. Use my heart, I use my heart. I believe in myself. So I say this in the mirror every day. When I say, I love myself, I love my skin, I love my hair, my melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit, just try again. I love myself, I love my skin, I love my hair, my melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit, just try again. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? I can be anything I wanna be. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? I can be anything I wanna be. I am strong, I am strong, I am smart, I am smart, I am nice, I am nice. Use my heart, I use my heart. I believe in myself, I don't play, I don't play. So I say this in the mirror every day. What I say, I am strong, I am strong, I am smart, I am smart, I am nice, I am nice. Use my heart, I use my heart. I believe in myself, I don't play, I don't play. So I say this in the mirror every day. What I say.
Let me put this down first.
Booker. Booker T. Washington really wanted to go to school. Born on April 5th, 1856, a time when most black children weren't educated, he wanted to go to school so badly that at 16, without money or a map, the former slave traveled 500 miles by foot and train across Virginia to enroll. Inspired to spread knowledge to others, Washington later established and became the first principal and teacher of Tuskegee Institute in Alabama.
Opened in 1881, the school taught academic as well as practical skills like farming and blacksmithing to newly freed African Americans who would then be able to make more money as well as teach the skills to others. In the beginning, Washington taught 30 students in a one-room shack in empty church, but in just 15 years, thanks to his leadership and influence, the school soon grew to 800 students, 79 teachers, and 30 buildings. One famous teacher was George Washington Carver. Booker T. Washington continued as Tuskegee's principal until his death on November 14, 1915. Educating new generations of teachers and skilled workers, the school continues today and is now called Tuskegee University. Tuskegee University is proud to be the only HBCU to proudly offer ROTC programs for all branches of the military, including the Space Force. We salute the great educator Booker T. Washington.
There's more to the story. Became a leader as a man. One day he had a dream where he saw the promised land, place where God was living and treated equally. Together as one, in peace and harmony. He believed in the plans of land, that love would shine his lamp. Light that shines so bright, takes darkness from the night. As a man, this is so much more. We honor Martin Luther King. Harmony, the dream of Martin Luther King. Believe it now. Harmony, the dream of Martin Luther King. Let's come together now. Let's come together now. Believe it now, Martin Luther King. So we're together as a harmony. Became a Luther King. Harmony, together as a harmony. Believe it now. Martin Luther King. He was educator as a man. One day he had a dream where he saw the promised land, place where we as a boy became leaders man. Together all as one, in peace and harmony. He believed in society, became a leaders man. Found harmony, he became as leaders of man. Bye-bye.
Rosa Parks stood up for African Americans by sitting down. Although Abraham Lincoln's 1863 Emancipation Proclamation granted slaves their freedom, for many years black people were discriminated against in much of the United States. In southern states, for instance, most black children were forced to attend separate schools from white kids in classrooms that were often run down with outdated books. African Americans also couldn't eat at the same restaurants as white people and had to sit in the back seats of public buses. Segregation, the separation of races, was enforced by local laws. Rosa Parks was born in 1913. On December 1st, 1955, she boarded a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and sat in the middle where black passengers in that city were allowed to sit unless a white person wanted the seat. As the bus filled with new riders, the driver told Parks to give up her seat to a white passenger. She refused, and the driver called the police, and Parks was arrested. Her arrest sparked a major protest. For more than a year, most black people in Montgomery stood together and refused to take city buses. One of the leaders of the boycott was a young local pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. Public vehicles stood idle and the city lost money. Still, the Montgomery bus boycott didn't end until a 1956 Supreme Court decision ended racial segregation on public transportation throughout the United States. Rosa Parks died on October 24, 2005, but throughout her life, her refusal to give up her seat inspired many others to fight for African American rights and helped advance the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. We salute you, Rosa Parks.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise.
Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you bested with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my room, just like moon and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high. Still, I'll rise.
Did you want to see my broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling like teardrops, weakening my sorrowful cries? Does my hauntedness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard.
You may shoot me with your words, cut me with your eyes, kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise.
Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise up from the past that rooted in pain. I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tide.
Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into the daybreak that's wonderfully clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave.
I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
The stars were always within reach for Katherine Johnson. Using her mathematics skills, she helped NASA send astronauts to the moon and return them safely home. She also overcame racial and gender hurdles that helped make giant leaps for humankind. Johnson was born in West Virginia in 1918. Math came easy to her, but she worked hard to master algebra and geometry. She started high school at the age of 10 and college when she was 15. After graduating, she began teaching math. When Katherine Johnson was 34, she learned about jobs for black women with mathematics and computing skills at the Langley lab at NASA. She and the other women worked as human computers, figuring out different calculations needed for spaceflight. One of Johnson's biggest accomplishments at NASA was helping calculate the path for the country's first spaceflight in 1961. Later, she went on to calculate the path for Neil Armstrong's historic mission to the moon on Apollo 11. Despite the groundbreaking work for Katherine Johnson and dozens of the black women, no one knew of their hard work. It wasn't until the 2016 release of the movie Hidden Figures that these amazing math stars received widespread attention. Johnson died in 2020 at the age of 101. In honor, NASA dedicated a research facility in her name to celebrate the hard work she did to help them take them to the stars. We salute you, Katherine Johnson.
John Lewis, Congressman. Growing up in the South during a time when black people did not have the same rights as white people, John Lewis faced racial discrimination and he did not like it. He fought for equality during the Civil Rights Movement, marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. against oppression and risking his life for justice. Through grit and determination, he went from sitting on bus seats as an act of civil disobedience during the freedom rights to sitting in the halls of Congress as a champion for civil liberties. Lewis was born on February 21st, 1940 in rural Alabama. His parents were sharecroppers who worked on a farm picking cotton for landowners. As a young boy, Lewis also liked picking cotton. No, he picked cotton and did other farm duties, and his family, it was hard work, but he enjoyed with the chickens. Lewis helped organize lunch sit-ins against segregated restaurants where black and white people could not eat together. Sometimes he'd be arrested for his actions, but Lewis accepted being thrown in jail for fighting what is right, or good trouble, as he'd later call it. Lewis, who was only 25 years old, marched across the bridge in the fight for equal voting rights for black people. King joined Lewis and thousands of other protesters to march from the Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. Their efforts eventually led to the signing of Voting Rights Act in 1965, which outlawed the discriminatory practices that prevented many black Americans from voting. Lewis eventually became a congressman from Georgia in 1987, serving until his death at the age of 80 in 2020. During his time in Congress, he continued his work for civil rights and encouraged young people to do hard work necessary to change the country by getting into good trouble. We salute you, John C. Lewis.
I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out to the true meaning of this creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
What a wonderful journey we have taken today as we have honored individuals who have come before us. From those who taught us how to be courageous, Harriet Tubman. Those who focused on learning and educating, such as Katherine Johnson and Booker T. Washington. From those who used their ingenuity to make a difference, such as George Washington Carver and Ida B. Wells. To those who spoke up against civil and social injustices with the goal of a world where all people can be respected and treated equitably. We celebrate these accomplishments, but the journey does not stop now. We want to empower you to make a choice in our school and our community. How can you do it? Follow the core values, treat others with kindness and respect, learn a new skill, and help someone in need. A small act of kindness can make a world of difference. You can do it. Together, we can make a world a better place. Say it with me. Together, we can make a world, a better place.
Third graders, please stand and face the crowd for the singing of the Black National Anthem. Wait, back row, wait. Good job, guys. Good job.
I never want to go back on stage.
Okay, next time we go, okay?
I'm gonna run away now. Gonna be slow. Gonna be slow.
All right, let's give another big hand to our participants. They did such a great job. Aura, Violetta, Tony, Fatma, Megan, Alpha, Teresa, Lily, the second grade dance ensemble, Mahir, Simone, Anil, Sophia, the Black History Dance Ensemble, Lavali, Alexander, Toby, and Alexa, and our third graders. Give them a hand again. Thank you so much. Thank you also to Mr. Wilson, Ms. Booth, Ms. Tu, Ms. Mikeska, and everyone who helped support the students. Thank you, Mr. Olson. We truly appreciate you. We hope you learned some new things. Have a